Look, welcome everyone. We're excited to be delivering this webinar to you all. It seems like a great turnout and obviously a highly topical discussion. My name is Tiernan O'Connor. I'm the Director of Customer Engagement at DWR. Joining me today on the panel is Juby Matthew, who's our account exec for NetSuite Planning and Budgeting. He also looks after the whole of the Asia Pacific, as does Sanjoy Roy, who is the Solution Principal for PBCS. Firstly, thank you for everyone for answering the registration survey. Pretty compelling that 42% of you said your biggest challenge is accuracy of planning, budgeting and forecasting. Well, I think you're in the right place for this webinar. Secondly, needing to do more without additional resources is a huge priority for everyone. And I think this really highlights the importance of having the right systems to support your business, implemented in a way that brings efficiency and automation. So keep an eye out for future webinars that we'll be running about these and other topics. Just quickly for the agenda, I'll start by giving you a brief intro about why planning and budgeting is more important than ever before. I'll talk a little bit about the critical role of a technology partner, and then I'll hand over to the NetSuite team to talk about the Excel problem, NetSuite's planning and budgeting solution overview, challenges with traditional sales and operations, and integrated sales and ops from NetSuite, and the outcomes that a planning and budgeting solution can create. For those who aren't familiar with DWR, we're a team of cloud technology experts who deliver lasting outcomes aligned with business goals. We deliver tailored, innovative technology solutions. We're accountable with a reputation for delivering projects on time and on budget. More than half our team has over 20 years industry experience, and along the journey, we're a multi-award winning NetSuite solution provider. We've been in business since 2009, exclusively as a NetSuite partner. In that time, we've delivered probably close to 250 projects and in excess of 34,000 implementation hours. We're proud to say we've got very long-term partnerships with our customers, and they operate in a wide range of industries. Now let's get into the webinar. So why is planning and budgeting more important than ever before? All of us know that 2020 saw huge changes, rapid shifts to product category demands. I'm sure we all recognise that the change in demand for home and garden products as an example over the last 18 months. There were spikes in demand due to lockdowns and also due to easing of restrictions. Demand planning and budgeting is really critical now. It can help minimise the impact of unexpected change by giving you a better view of trends as they're happening. We saw incredible disruption to the supply chain in 2020. In a recent report, 27.8% of organisations cited more than 20 supply chain disruptions throughout the year, and that was compared to only 4.8 the year before. They have continued in 2021, and we all know it. Factory shutdowns, port congestion, even trade wars are having an impact on all of this. So improving planning can't eliminate these issues, but it can help minimise the impact. So what's the role of a technology partner? So look, DWR believes that the right technology partner takes time to understand your business needs and goals, and really only then recommends the right technology solution. We work with you to identify the best fit solution for a business's unique needs. We then bring proven processes into your existing business framework. We then focus on delivering outcomes that align with your business goals. Now I'd like to hand over to Juby from the NetSuite team to tell you about the Excel problem.
Thank you, Tiernan. Before I jump into the Excel problem, I'll just give you a quick overview of the current state of the FPNA today. So what you're seeing on screen is a research conducted by Ventana and KPMG to a close group of FPNA teams, and this is what they had to say. Now, as you can see, the first part is predominantly done on the enterprise space. But if you take a look at the NetSuite base or the SMB space, they're close to 80 to 85%, or even 90% are still reliant on Excel to do their budgeting and planning, which is something not ideal. 65% of folks in finance are still engaged with very little time to do any meaningful or analytical work. And 50% of folks in finance are consumed with mundane operational process where they can be spending a lot of time creating a budget template, checking your email, see if you have the right versions of the budgets from marketing, from sales, or any department for that matter. All that's a process. Now, which results in the very end where actually just 20% is actually involved in improving the financial performance. Now, that's not one should be actually doing. It should be spending more time in improving the financial reporting to management and take necessary actions based on the timely data that's available. Moving on, we'll actually see some of the Excel problems. So I'm not going to go through all this, but you can very much resonate what the problems with Excel are today. It can crash. It may not respond when you need it the most. You may have to juggle between numerous versions that come from various stakeholders, not knowing who has updated the latest and which one should you actually be working on. And the most important part is the fact that Excel can be erroneous. Excel is good to run a quick ad hoc analysis, but running a multi-million-dollar budget for your organization that touches many stakeholders is not something that you want to be doing in Excel. So what you're going to be seeing today is an enterprise-grade solution of NetSuite for NetSuite customers that solves all of these problems. It automates, it collaborates, it removes any errors associated that you happen to do with Excel today. You can analyze, visualize, and even manage all of that. Moving on, we will just understand how the evolution of NetSuite planning and budgeting has taken place. So as you can see, it's been in existence for close to 3 decades. Some of you may recall the name Hyperion. It's a popular planning and budgeting solution for the enterprise customers back in the day, which Oracle acquired. And then Oracle handed over the keys to NetSuite, and where we're now going to be using the same planning and budgeting tool from Hyperion, but optimized for NetSuite customers and the SMB customers for planning and forecasting. And we have been a leader in the Gartner in the space on planning and budgeting for more than a decade. Moving on. So today, what we're going to do is focus on a very specific problem or an area called the S&OP, or the Sales and Operation Planning. So as most of you know, S&OP, or Sales and Operation Planning, is the process to integrate your finance, your sales, and operations to ensure there is a proper balance between your supply and your demand. Moving on, let's understand some of the challenges that customers face. So if you're a customer who is a retail or a wholesaler or a distributor or a manufacturer, you can pretty much associate with all the problems that you're seeing on screen right now. There could be a mismatch between your inventory and your customer demands. You're unable to forecast the impact of a short-term prolonged shutdown that we all went through lately on your sales forecast and on your financials. There could be data coming in from different systems like your sales, your production, your inventory, your finance, and all this data needs to be consumed together to do your planning and budgeting process, which can be quite tedious. And you operate in multiple countries or multiple currencies, and now you have to find the impact of those currency fluctuations on your margins, which can be, again, quite painful. And the last, but not the least, is the Excel problem, which we already discussed. So if you can resonate with all of the above or any of the above, then you're going to like the next session, which my colleague Sanjay is going to show you how all of them can be achieved using the NetSuite planning and budgeting, sales and operational planning. With that, I'm going to be handing over to Sanjay. Sanjay, over to you.
So just to set the context of the demonstration today, we will first walk through what NetSuite planning and budgeting solution is and how it can contribute value to your business processes, as Julie was explaining. So NetSuite Planning and Budgeting, or NSPB, is NetSuite's comprehensive planning, budgeting, and like all the management reporting solution, all of which is available from within a single integrated platform, providing a single pane of view of the business performance, helping the management take informed strategic decisions. So how it does it, it has inbuilt data integration, accounting, and reporting frameworks, which helps to translate the impact of all like your business drivers, like the different volumes of sales of different products across different customer segments, across different regions, and helps to translate the impact of those business drivers onto the three-wheeling financial plan, your income statement, and the balance sheet, which drives the cash flow. It is seamlessly integrated with NetSuite, which allows you to create an updated plan based on the latest historical performance of the closed period of the book. But it is also like data source agnostic, which allows us to seamlessly interface with any and every upstream system from where we need to source key financial and non-financial information essential for building the forecast and the plan. It is a true cloud solution, which can be accessed by all the web browser, mobiles, and tablets, but it also has comprehensive integration with the full MS Office toolset, including Excel, PowerPoint, Word, with the ability to generate reports in PDF. It has also got audit trails and workflow enabled to ensure robust data governance. So before we jump into the system to the demo, I will just set the context to see what the sales and operations planning process flow looks like in 4 simple steps. The sales and operations planning process is a process to balance the demand and the supply, which must be aligned with the organization's strategic direction. Hence, this necessitates that the account managers in the sales department responsible for selling different products to different customers work in a collaborative manner with the demand planner in the operations department based on the production capacity available. And thus, the demand planner, based on the production capacity available, would be able to gauge if the sales plan is feasible or not. So the demand planner works with the production supply line manager in the manufacturing department to check the viability of the supply plan against the demand to generate a reconciled sales and operations plan. And the key outcome of this reconciled and integrated sales and operations plan is a fully fledged, robust financial plan, which shows the impact the sales and operations plan has on all the different KPIs of performance, like the product profitability, like customer profitability, cost of acquiring, and like stocking inventory, the net profit, and the resulting cash flow, which is required by the finance strategy function within the business to make informed decisions. Thus, a robust and comprehensive sales and operations plan is made possible by the various departments or the functions within the business working collaboratively towards the sales plan, the demand plan, and the supply plan with a constant flow of information, all of which builds the reconciled financial plan. Using NetSuite's planning and budgeting's integrated sales and operations plan, we can achieve all the above as explained in this slide, working towards an integrated sales and operations plan by individual products and customers, going down as detailed as individual SKUs in a bottom-up fashion, but also having the capability of adjusting the forecast in a top-down manner. And we can see the impact instantaneously on the financial plan, all from within the same platform. So with that, I would be actually logging into the NetSuite Planning and Budgeting landing page. So I've switched the screen from the slide into the system, and I hope everyone can see my screen.
Yeah.
So this is the NetSuite Planning and Budgeting landing page. Before we actually start, let's quickly familiarize ourselves with this landing page. On the left, we will see various notifications and announcements relevant to the forecasting and the planning processes. It provides useful guidelines and insights, and also important milestone information for task completion. Additionally, we can also bookmark some of our favorites, reports, and dashboards on this billboard for quick access. On the right-hand side, we will see various widgets or applets, which all are the individual applications which helps to work with the specific areas of the planning and forecasting processes. And in today's demonstration, we will be focusing on the integrated sales and operations planning application. Every planning application within NetSuite Planning and Budgeting platform consists of a set of input templates where you can upload a bunch of parameters and a set of reports where you can validate the outcome of applying those parameters. And everything is neatly set up in workbenches. Which helps you to like validate all the changes to the drivers you've made. So starting from the pricing assumptions, then you can work with the forecasted demand. Then subsequently, once you've worked with the demand, you can work on the drivers of your supply. And finally, you can see all those coming together to give you the financial impact in a progressive manner, as we'll shortly see. So this sales and operations planning application shown here for is like for a wholesale distributor who sells different computer hardwares and accessories in the various customer segments like enterprises, mid-market, and SMB. But this can easily apply for any like WD companies or like that of the manufacturing companies by tweaking the templates and reports to accommodate the necessary drivers. So starting with the pricing assumptions, we can build very detailed pricing assumptions by the SKUs, as you can see in the rows. Again, these SKUs are essentially filtered by the item categories of laptops, which I've chosen as my point of view. And for every SKU, we can attach multiple pricing strategies, as you can see in the column. And these pricing strategies at the onset is preceded with the values from that core NetSuite ERP via direct integration, and along with the other like segments like the product, SKUs, the company, the currencies that the company transact in. The true value that NetSuite Planning and Budgeting brings to the table is allowing the business to model various pricing strategies in this scenario and understand their impact on the overall profit margins. So we can spread these pricing strategies across like the strategic timeline horizon. In this scenario, I would be creating the demand forecast from September FY21 through to FY22. And here we will focus on the SKU Asus laptops. So here we see that we have spread out the pricing for Asus laptop based on the base price with an uplift of 5% adjustment. We can also apply special like discounting strategies for individual customers by going down as detailed as the individual SKUs. So the customer here operating in a particular channel or the class, it can be easily chosen from the point of view. So taking the example of the customer Abbott Corporation who sells laptops to the university students at discounted prices, and most of the students opt to buy them, say for example, during the term break, and hence we can apply special pricing only during the term break, which is, for example, March through August. So I have already created previously a pricing strategy for Abbott Corporation operating in the class A, channel A, which essentially sells to those university students. But instead of using a base pricing with a 20% upside, I would want to override the pricing specifically for the months of March through August. So let me choose a special pricing of $800 per unit from March through to August. And let me save these assumptions. The strength of the solution is that whenever you change the assumptions of the pricing at any level, be it at the strategic timeline horizon or at the individual customer, it automatically multiplies the updated pricing with the volume of sales and calculates a gross margin by SKUs, by customers, and aggregates the gross margin at a customer and product segment level. So moving on to the forecasting of the volumes of sales or the demand. As highlighted before, NetSuite Planning and Budgeting is data source agnostic. So it has the ability to extract non-financial data, in this case, the historical sales volumes up through to August 2021, from not only your NetSuite ERP, but from any other system that you are tracking the demand. And along with the segments like your customers, the different classes that they operate in, the different SKUs the company set up, all of which can be extracted from the core NetSuite ERP. This solution gives you an integrated platform to build a comprehensive demand forecast. So we can apply various exponential smoothing algorithms like rolling averages of 3, 6, 9, 12, or we can choose prior year actuals with a certain percentage upside or downside, all of which can be entered for each combination of my customer and my SKU. So here, I've already seen that I have created a specific pricing strategy for Asus laptops for the months of March through August, and for the customer Abbott Incorporation, which I've chosen the point of view. And I foresee there would be a peak in demand during the months of March through to August for Asus laptops in the month of for FY 2022. So let me go ahead and let me change the demand forecast to reflect that peak in demand for the months of March through August. And once I have saved this information, like before, the system applies the updated forecasted demand with the pricing to create the gross margin. We can also leverage some of like the statistical time series methods to build our forecast. So by just using a few clicks here, by executing predictive planning, what the system does is it goes back in time to understand the pattern of historical data, and based on which the system suggests a few like predictions. And I can execute these predictions for any combination of the product and the customer by just simply navigating to that relevant data points. So in here, what I would do is that I would accept the predicted forecast, which is shown in this blue arrow, for the Asus laptops relevant for Abbott Incorporation. And then I would go ahead and paste these predicted forecast into my base forecast. As before, once I have copied my predictions into my base forecast, I can save this volume, my forecasted volumes. So once I've created a detailed demand forecast of volumes by detailed SKUs and customers, the system would present that information neatly in a report, efficiently aggregating the demand across multiple customer segments, as you can see in the rows, for different product SKUs, which you can see in the point of view, aggregating it across the different product segments. So with that, we will, all of which essentially would flow into our supply plan, as we will shortly see. So now moving on to the supply plan, just navigate. So moving on to the supply plan, the NetSuite planning and budgeting solution helps to build a detailed, comprehensive supply plan by detailed SKUs, as you can see in the point of view, by helping us to work with first the analysis of my stock on hand versus the demand deficit. Here we see that the volumes of the forecasted demand has automatically flowed in through to my supply plan. It also allows me to work on my safety stock needed to prevent stockouts. Then it allows me to work with the various drivers to strategize the orders and replenishments on the stocks, based on which it calculates the total inventory purchases required to be made, and which finally builds my inventory snapshots. Right? So here we have the various options of replenishing the stock, factoring in the lead times by the locations and by the vendors. We also take into account the units to be ordered. And this can also be based on like the forecasted demand and or the lead times, which can again be driven by some other factors like that of the minimum ordered quantity. Plus, at all times, we have the options to urgently restock based on the back orders and or the sudden peaks in demand. And finally, once we have our stock like replenished, including all the committed POs, which we can source from the core NetSuite ERP, This will automatically build the total inventory purchases as highlighted in blue, which in turn builds the final inventory snapshot. What are the key outcomes of an integrated supply plan are the relevant KPIs that measures the inventory levels, the customer SLA or like the fulfillment percentages, the SKU fill rates, which is essentially the inventory we are stocking as a result of those purchases versus how much we are actually selling off. All of which reflects the health of our supply plan and instantaneously shows the impact on the purchases required to be made, as well as the inventory levels which we need to maintain. So here we see that the inventory level has dipped down for the months of November through to January. So let me put in some urgent orders in the month of November through January, and let's see how that impacts our supply plan. So with just a few clicks, I have entered an order of 3,000 units for the months of December through to February. And what the system will do is it will automatically readjust not only the inventory levels, as we have seen that it picks up, but it also would update the other KPIs of my supply plan, like the total purchases I need to make, the opening and the final like closing inventory, both in terms of dollar values and in terms of units. So as a consequences of our orders placed, as we have just seen, the inventory projections by the product groups and the detailed SKUs are being built, which are shown in both graphical and numerical formats. And it clearly shows the trends as well as it shows us the movements to the inventory month on month. Here we see that for September, there's a drain of around 11.9 million of inventory, which caused that drop in the inventory levels. So all of these drivers of the demand and the supply plan forecasted that we have built so far, that builds our financial impact, starting with the gross margin. And we can analyze the gross margin by not only individual product categories, but if we can break it down into the individual SKU within each product category, as well as we can break it down by the individual customers as well. And the detailed gross margin information automatically gets incorporated into the income statement, into the relevant revenue and the cost of sales line items. For example, we see that the net line item for the product revenue that has been already updated based on the forecasted demand and supply that we have just done, as well as the cost of goods sold are also updated, all of which builds my gross margin right down through to the net profit after taxes, which for September is around 6.13 million. One of the key value proposition of the NetSuite planning and integrated sales and operations plan is a three-way linked income statement, balance sheet, and the cash flow, where the impact of the income statement and the balance sheet drives the cash flow. So now, having seen the income statement and taking into consideration the NPAT of 16.1 million, all the drivers of the demand and the supply plan, which drives the inventory and hence the balance sheet movements within the inventory, it is clearly reflected in my balance sheet. So here I see that the inventory in stock, which is driven by my supply plan, it shows that drain of 11.9 million of my inventory in the month of September. And all these linkages ensure that my balance sheet is balanced at all times. Now we will see the combined impact on the income statement and the balance sheet on the cash flow. So here we see the net income, and along with the movement of the working capitals, inventory being one of them, it dynamically builds the net cash from operations. And along with the investing and the financing activities, it shows the net cash change for the period month on month. Additionally, we also have the graphical view of our profitability. So here in one single pane of view, we can see how our business are actually performing based on all the changes to the drivers of the demand and the supply that we have just created. So it summarizes the performance of the business, not only in terms of KPIs, but it breaks down each of the KPI into the individual relevant segments. For example, I can see the breakdown of my total sales by the individual customers, breaking down the KPI from a customer segment perspective, enterprises versus mid-market versus SMB, and also allowing us to analyze our performance within the individual customers in that customer segment. I can also break down my revenue by the different product segments. And the system also allows me to look at the performance within that individual customer segment. For example, if I want to see the performance of all the SKUs within the laptop segment, I can drill on into the dashboard where it will show me the clear breakdown of the performance. It also allows me to look at the expenses, the other side of the picture, which builds my operating margin, not only by departments, but also by the expense types. I can break down the expenses. As I break down the expenses by the expenses types, I can see that the workforce expense is the highest grossing expense. And on clicking on that summary, it breaks down those expenses by the individual GLs, which again links my KPIs to my income statement. So with all graphical representation of the data, there is, of course, the numerical representation to support your KPI and the information and the analysis that you need to make. Hence, the true value NetSuite planning and budgeting provides in this scenario is allowing you to have a complete visibility of your business performance right from the KPIs and breaking down the KPIs into the individual segments. So to summarize what we have just seen, using NetSuite's planning and budgeting integrated sales and operations planning module, we saw how easily we can change the drivers of our demand and our supply. And we have also seen how they seamlessly build a three-way linked financial plan that perform an income statement, balance sheet, and cash flow, and also allowing us to view the business performance in a single pane. So with that, I will conclude my demonstration.
Thanks, Sanjoy. That was really informative. Just a few more slides to get through and we'll conclude. So if anyone has any questions, please put them in the Q&A button down the bottom. I can see some coming in. So the first one, I'm not using NetSuite ERP. Can the planning and budgeting solution you've shown us connect to our current ERP system? Yes.
Yeah.
It's agnostic. It's owned by NetSuite, but it can connect to any ERP, any finance system, any data lake and warehouse. I mean, it's the API is very open. Sanjoy, does the solution work with Excel?
Absolutely. So we have got an add-in called NetSuite Planning and Budgeting Smart View, which allows you to not only connect with Excel, but the other MS Office tool set like PowerPoint and Word as well, which essentially means that whenever you're trying to present a particular Power Pack to the board, you can connect live to the system, which will refresh all those dashboards and data points in the pack.
Thank you. Great. Can we automate the safety stock calculation based on forecasted demand? Absolutely.
The short answer is a resounding yes. And given the current economy where the supply lines are thinly stretched due to the restrictions in the movement of goods and services across the borders, we see that businesses plan for a safety stock based on a 6 months rolling average of the demand. And at times they can get aggressive to forecast based on like a 12-month rolling average of demand as well. So NetSuite Planning and the budgeting solution offers you both the options, including the ability to manually adjust based on your needs.
All right. So there's a few more coming in. Can the NetSuite planning module be used to also analyze the actuals and the variance to budget?
Absolutely, yes. So this is a comprehensive planning, budgeting, management reporting platform, as we had mentioned before, and it allows you to perform the actual versus budget versus forecast variances, not only for the financials, but also for your drivers like your demand and your supply plan as well.
Great. And lucky last, does it connect with Power BI?
Absolutely. So the underlying database of NetSuite Planning and Budgeting is Oracle Essbase, which allows us API to connect to Power BI.
Okay, thanks for all of your questions. We're almost out of time. For more information, please reach out to us. You can visit our website at dwr.com.au/NSPB. And if you'd like to speak with a cloud technology expert here at DWR, contact us on 1-800-197-403 or email through info@dwr.com.au. Thank you for joining us, and we hope to see you again in a future webinar.